So, interestingly enough, the lead topic of our live show today actually came from a live show viewer from Ryan's first appearance back on May 1st. And he is a workplace leader who works in a design related firm with engineers and people that do, very specialized knowledge work. Uh, he indicated that some of the people on team are neurodivergent. So he's very concerned about the topic today. And he asks you, Ryan, how can I achieve inclusive workplace design? So get us started. How do we do that?
Yeah. Well, first, what a fantastic aspiration, because it's not just the right thing to do, it's really good business. You're basically creating environments that equip a much broader range of people to be productive and hopefully retaining great talent longer. Neurodivergence is part of it.
Mhm.
I think a really important part of it, but it goes beyond that.
Right.
In terms of how to do it, it has to do with a more participatory approach to design. So there's a couple strategies you can use, and I'm going to talk mostly about the creation of the physical workplace, but I actually think these principles apply to creating a more inclusive work culture broadly. One is to understand best practices that are happening by organizations that are trying new things and learning and are really invested in the research. And I do think there's a variety of really smart, improved practices around taking into account needs that are sometimes not right at the middle of a bell curve. Like I work with our product development teams, and the typical view within the development of a product or a space is that we've got some sort of ideal user in the middle. Well, we've
Mhm.
learned a long time ago that sometimes somebody who's really on the edge of that bell curve, if you solve for their needs, you create a better solution for everyone. And I can give you examples of that. So
Ooh.
that would be one approach. The second approach, which takes more work, but boy, is it the best approach, is to design with employees, not just for them, to
Mhm.
actually get groups of employees providing input, not even necessarily on a design, but more on their work experience. For us, the go-to place to start is employee resource groups. If it happens to be a company that already has groups of employees that are organized into this is the veterans, this is the working parents, this is the African American professionals, like if those groups exist,
Right.
they're there to be able to help advocate for unique needs, and being asked about their work experience, being asked about their experience within different sort of environments, working in the office, working from home, etc., often yields really interesting and very actionable insight that can provide guidance for a whole host of others. I'll give you one example. I have had the privilege last month, along with our director of design strategy on my team, Joseph White, of touring some of the leading workspaces across Australia. So we were in Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide. I think Australia, in many ways, is years ahead. In some ways, less so. But we were at one organization that had hired about 30 people with autism into their cybersecurity team.
Mm.
People with autism are excellent at pattern recognition. And
Mhm.
so this was a very specific hiring decision, but you have to be much more aware of the sensory needs of somebody, really anyone who's on the neurodivergent spectrum. And there really is no quote unquote neurotypical in that sense,
Right.
but they offered not just a room or two, but a whole part of the building with um, more variable sensory inputs. You could adjust lighting levels. You can deal with acoustics in new ways, different options as far as where to work. And as I stood there observing with Joseph, we both were like, who wouldn't want this? Like, who
Right.
wouldn't want more control over lighting, acoustics, your own experience? And so it worked great for them, but it's also just a path towards better experiences for everyone.